I mentioned in my last video that I'm by no means a top player of Supervive, and that I was entering the playtest from a beginner standpoint. I've got a lot to learn in this game, and I wanted to showcase how I'm trying to learn the game so it helps you too. What's poppin' everyone, it's your boy Levi, and I'm just a little addicted to Supervive. If you saw my most recent announcement, Nimble Neuron, the creators of Eternal Return, have decided not to renew their contract with Kakao Games, the publisher of Eternal Return. Because of this, it means as of July 31st, the creator and partner program will be up in the air, as well as the fan art showcases, mentor program, and esports related events will be abolished. With uncertainty that it will be remade in the future, it leaves us partners a little homeless. So with that, let's jump into some more Supervive content. When I first got into Supervive in one of the early playtests, I actually really didn't like the game that much. Eternal Return still had a solos mode, which was my preferred way to play a battle royale, and I couldn't justify moving to a team modes game when ER was currently filling my content void. I had always had Supervive on my radar, but I didn't participate in any of the playtests after that. I even remember mentioning in a feedback form for Supervive about probably not playing this game without a solos mode. It wasn't looking like a game for me at the time, despite being the genre I had the most fun playing. What sets MOBA battle royales apart from FPS battle royales for me is the controls. I'm not great at shooters. I've tried Fortnite, I've tried Apex, I've even looked into PUBG. Those style of games aren't for me. I like my top-down right-click movement games, and Eternal Return was just that. Now I know what you're thinking. Levi, this game is WASD controls. It's completely different than right-clicking. Well, when Eternal Return 1.0 was announced and only a squads mode would be available, I immediately started looking for more games to get into. I was excited for Eternal Return's full release, but I knew at some point it wasn't going to be a game for me anymore. Not at least until solos came back. One of the games I got into around that time was Omega Strikers. It was a top-down MOBA soccer game that combined elements of League of Legends MOBA combat and Rocket League goal scoring. A ton of Eternal Return creators were playtesters for the game too, which made getting help and resources for that game super easy. While Omega Strikers unfortunately was short-lived, if you do remember it, you had the option to use right-click movement or WASD controls. I started with right-click, and it was honestly awful. I grinded the game a bit, learning to use the WASD controls until they felt comfortable. When Omega Strikers announced the game would no longer be receiving updates, I tried games like Fangs, Second Wave, and even the remake of Gigantic from back in the day. They were all fun at times, but frustrating due to how early in development they were. I found myself always going back to Eternal Return. When the end of June 2024 Supervive playtest rolled around, the game had been changed a ton since I had last tried it. Characters had been renamed, there were map changes, and even a huge influx of more playtesters. And the game kind of felt good. Like any game in beta, there were parts that needed tweaking still, but the game had come incredibly far since I had tried it. I'm not usually one for queuing up solo and team games, but I found myself trying to squeeze out every minute of the playtest period. I was even queuing on the Europe server to get more games in. When Theorycraft Games announced that the playtest would be extended by a few hours one night, I decided I would give the game an honest try and do some research. I found my holy trinity of content creators that would help me understand the game. During the off times of the playtest, I found myself watching Dunmere and Paz videos. Their videos were very helpful with me accelerating my knowledge of the game, and I would highly recommend them as a good place to start if you want to try Supervive. Their content is very tailored for new players, and they break down concepts to help show why you need to understand something rather than just teaching you the concept. I also turned to the streamer More. He's got a very chill vibe to him, and watching his streams really helped me with the character Zuff. Since he plays in a squad of 4 most of the time, there's a huge emphasis on communication on his stream, and he talks out loud more about what he's doing during the game than trying to teach. My process would be to watch More play a game, write down the concepts that he mentioned that I didn't understand, and then research them through Dunmere and Paz. I honestly felt like I was learning the game way faster than just playing on my own. Just dropping into every game, I found myself not knowing what to do in specific situations. In fact, I didn't even know if there was things that I didn't know and what I was missing out on. Watching these creators helped me learn things like the best areas to drop in, what you should prioritize on day one, and how to approach the end game with multiple teams. If these are all concepts you want to learn, hopefully I can relay some of the information that I've learned and how I learned it to help you guys as well. If that interests you, maybe subscribe so you don't miss out on that. In my first Supervive video, I mentioned that some games would last under 20 seconds if I dropped on another team. I was finding that if I had a game plan on what to do and where, when I dropped in, this would happen less and less. At level 1, Zeph's choices for abilities are a heal, a tornado that launches him and his team in a direction, or an AoE stunning grenade that does damage. In the beginning, I used to always grab the heal because I thought I'm a support character, I should get my heal first. But through experience and watching more, I was finding different opportunities to take other abilities. If a team dropped slower than us, I found that if they did an emergency exit and tried to contest our camp, my AoE grenade was the best choice. They were all dropping in one spot, and I could almost solo carry a fight if I had a good nade. If we're dropping slower than another team and we're not committing to emergency exiting, I found myself getting the tornado, so I can at least get myself out and possibly team members if we end up losing the level 1. I went from always getting my heal at level 1 to pretty much never getting it at level 1. and I was seeing a lot more success in games. If you played Eternal Return for almost any amounts of time, you know that the small differences can make or break a game. On the Saturday of the playtest, Ranked was launched. I ended up having to work most of that weekend, so I only caught the last 2 hours of the playtest. I wasn't sure what the rank culture would be like in this game. Supervive didn't feel like a heavily toxic game, but with Twitch drops on, it means a ton of players from other communities would be trying out the game. I wasn't interested in getting hard flamed after only had playing the game the day before, so I stuck to normals. But it ate at me. Those of you that know me know I got that competitive dog in me. I didn't log 3,000 plus hours into Eternal Return for nothing. There's nothing I like more in a game next to content creation than grinding a ranked ladder. With 1 hour left in ranked, I decided to try it out. I managed to get 3 games in before the servers went down, and to my surprise, I won 2 of them. And I actually feel like I pulled my own weight. Despite being a support character, I even found that I was holding my own in duels against carries. Sure, it was Bronze 4, but everyone was starting out in Bronze 4 after the level reset. There's definitely a mix of skill here. I had teammates that generally felt like it was their first game. And honestly, the mix of players was fun to balance and work with. Even if I did launch my flex off the map because they didn't know that they had a glider. After ranked weekend was over, it left me feeling almost empty. I wanted to see how good my research actually was and how high I could climb. I'm honestly salivating for the next ranked test. What's nice about the playtest being so spread apart is that it leaves me with a hunger every time I finish playing. Weeks go by and I can't wait to jump on the game again, much like how the beginning of Eternal Return felt for me. I wanted to play more Zeph, enabling teammates through making good plays. I wanted to try more Luna and learn to sit back and watch the play develop and focus on a more rescue playstyle than playmaking. I even wanted to try out the other characters that look like tons of fun playing. There's a ton of potential to Kingpin, a character with a grab that goes through walls, and Mist, a fun carry character that I had been trying out when my team already had 2 supports. I also wanted to recruit some teammates to try out some combos. One of the combos I watched terrorize EU was Moore playing Celeste. He would get launched into the enemy team by a void and then use his ultimate to stun enemies.
Maybe ult now.
Okay, ulting here.
I'm rising shoe.
Got 1. Got 2.
The same can be done with Zeph's Tornado instead of a void. So where are my Celeste players at? Let me know in the comments. I was hooked on Supervive, but one thing I've learned from playing competitive games throughout the years is that you can't let your skills surpass your knowledge. I've talked about it in my Eternal Return coaching videos, where I'd rather have a teammate who knows the right play but struggles to do it than a player who acts on their own accord and relies on mechanical outplays. Supervive is a team game, and the endgame phases require good communication and precision to avoid getting third-party. Concept all Eternal Return players are all too familiar with. I think this is where I'm going to spend most of my research during the down period until the next playtest. I'm finding myself making it to endgame more and more often, and I don't want to be a detriment to my team. Like I said before, I know it's bronze, but it felt nice to have instant gratification that I was doing well at the game, especially from the start. Of my over 3,000 Eternal Return hours, I don't think I even saw a real win until at least a couple hundred hours in. When the next playtest gets announced, I'll be sure to mention it in my Discord and on my community tab here. Hopefully you'll give this game a try. If Supervive sounds interesting to you, I recommend my previous video on the game. Click or tap the screen now to find out what the game is about and why you should care.